And welcome back to this week's edition of Two Coaches, One Grizz. We are back after a couple-week hiatus. We've had, Coach Emeritus gallivanting across the nation in, Las Vegas. Yeah, acting like he's
Utah, sir.
In Vegas, sir.
Yes, I did. I ended up in Vegas, but I went to Utah.
Okay, just where we're
Let's
here.
get it right. Let's get it
Coach,
right.
how are we doing today?
Sir, I'm glad you asked that question. As usual, I'm very thankful to be here, and I do feel blessed. But I have to say, the last couple of weeks have been a little difficult for me on different levels. In terms of where we are as a country, as a world, and things of that nature. We haven't been on the air in a couple of weeks, so we haven't been able to discuss certain things. And even though I know we're more sports oriented and things like that, I think that we also need to talk about certain things and that bring us together or make us who we are.
Heard.
You get me? And over the last couple of weeks, we had an attempt on one of the presidential candidates, which I thought was really sad because we haven't had that in 40, 50 years of our country. I thought we had gotten away from that kind of mentality and that stupidity. And again, and you know what? At the end of the day, it's because we've become such a divided country because of the media, because of politicians, because of different things that, again, we are more alike than we are different.
At the end of the day, we all want the same thing.
You get me? And so things like that got me like, JFK got killed. George Wallace, as much of a, whatever he was at that time, was running. He got shot, got paralyzed. MLK, Ronald Reagan got shot at. And again, people that were pretty big people in our country and guys that made things happen. And again, I just think that, number one, we look like a banana republic, which is ridiculous because we lead the world. As we go, the world goes.
Correct.
And it sucks.
I agree.
And again, we need to really find a way to find a middle ground. We've been a country of differences that find compromises. Because even the founding fathers, everybody else that got elected, as we moved on through time and we evolved as a country, we found compromises to make things work. And we are having such a hard time doing that now. It's just so hard to find a middle ground that it's disheartening.
So I agree with that. And yes, the modern media has forced a polarization upon us. And, it's frustrating.
Okay. And saying that, do you understand that one of the first headlines that come out was he fell and they went to pick him up?
Well, let's go. But let's backtrack even a little bit more on that, right? We are a sports show, right?
Right. No, yeah.
But I do think that there are some overarching topics that do need to be discussed because it is part of our social commentary, right? Like we have the best fucking. Sorry, this is a family show. I apologize, but we have the best Secret Service.
We're supposed to.
In the world.
We're supposed to.
And how do you miss the guy that's 150 meters out on top of whether you like Trump or not? This is not about.
It's got nothing to do with that.
It has nothing to do.
It's a presidential candidate.
It has nothing to do with whether you like the guy or not.
Right. It's got nothing to do with that.
This is a presidential candidate that we have the best Secret Service. We have the best military. We have everything in the world.
We did.
Quote unquote.
We did.
The head of the Secret Service needs to be fired.
Oh, she did. She resigned.
She resigned. Bye-bye. You know what I'm saying? Like, you can't, because there was people calling it in like, hey, there's a dude with a rifle on this building. And they're like, huh? Today, like, what are we talking about?
There's nothing you can do today because everybody has a phone and
there's no cover up.
There's video.
You can't cover it up.
Everybody's got video. And there's 1,000 angles now. Now there's angles of the house was surrounded and they didn't tell the guy, hey, stand them down, bring them down. There was no communication between the SWAT team and the Secret Service team. They didn't have a meeting in the morning. Like, Pablo, like we meet as football coaches in the morning for the game. like really?
Facts.
We're not gonna meet with the police there to say, hey, this is what we're gonna do. These are our tactical moves.
There's more.
We're on channel 2. Listen, we're all gonna be on channel 2.
There's more coordination with a high school football team than there is with the Secret Service and the SWAT.
Bro. Like, we're all on channel 2. you know. And again, and I know we're going to talk about the Olympics later, and watching the opening, whatever that was of the Olympics, like, well, you guys got kids. I've got grandkids. To me, things being portrayed and being put out there, I mean, the thing that doesn't look to me like what a show for the Olympics should look like.
So I agree on that point. Like it, and the Olympics, usually the opening ceremonies of the Olympics is usually, you want to show the country's history and all that stuff, which they have all done. I think this is my portrayal of what happened there was whoever was in charge of setting the show up. Like, I feel like the guy or the woman, whatever. I think it was a dude.
It was a guy.
I know it was a dude.
It was a guy.
I think he woke up one morning and said, "I'm just going to do the ultimate troll job on the world."
Yeah,
and specifically to troll like the conservative or like religious section.
Like,
but like, come on, guy. Like, what are we doing here?
But yeah, I mean, I was like, well, come on, guys. Like, this is the Olympics. Like, you bring your kids out to watch the pageantry of the teams waving and oh, USA, you know, this, that. That's something that we've all, like, again, I've been watching it for many, many years.
Yeah, you old.
Yeah, I am. And again, you're looking for it for the, again, like I said, the teams coming out together.
So here's my thing, right?
The history of it, et cetera, et cetera.
Like, so like, I'm Puerto Rican and Colombian, right? Like, very proud of that. But I grew up like predominantly in a Puerto Rican household. But like, the Olympics every 4 years was very much a part of our, like, hey, we're gonna watch the opening ceremonies. Like, yes, even though my grandparents came, we're very much, proud to be Americans and stuff like that. This was different. And also, like, just on a, side tangent, what the F does a heavy metal French rock band and Marie Antoinette have to do with the Olympics? Again, this is separate and apart to what you're talking about, but like, what does a heavy metal rock band with Marie Antoinette's head on the side have to do with it?
It was a hodgepodge and a hot mess. And again, like, instead of again, the Olympics has always been, I believe, of competition and again unification, right? Because the American guy beat the British guy, they shake hands, great job, your team. It's always been, to me, is that the idea of the camaraderie and the sportsmanship, because it's the Olympics. We're competing as nations.
And on a sports, from the sports perspective, I think a massive opportunity was lost in the Olympics in the opening ceremony. Okay, cool. The Seine River, it's part of Paris. It's part of its history. It's literally the reason why Paris is Paris, because it was founded on that river. I get it. But why wouldn't you not march the teams out through the Arc de Triomphe? Right? It's literally called the Arc de Triomphe for a reason, right? Like why wouldn't you march
because
the teams?
They had to ride death on the pale horse across the river.
Which is retarded in my...
Which again, when you look at it, you marvel at the animatronics, right? Because you're like, wow, man, this... But then when it hits you,
ultimate troll job.
It's revelation and it's death.
Again,
right? It's like
again. I do think the guy woke up and was like, "I'm just gonna troll everybody." But again, like I said, I'm no expert. But if I'm throwing the Olympics in Paris and I have this arc that's called the Arc de Triomphe,
let's do it right.
Walk them through that.
Let's do it right. And instead of polarizing ourselves and dividing ourselves even more. Or let's find ways, man, to come together, to work together. Because again, this only divides us more and puts us again at odds. At odds, because it really does. When you look at it, like you said, it's a troll job, but it's to separate one group of people from the other. Because if they did that with the Muslim would be cutting people's heads off. That guy would have been like the Godfather, and his head would have been next to him like the horse. You get me? So I mean, like I said, that's, and again, and this is my 2 minutes on the soapbox. It bothers me where we are as a society. It really does, because instead of getting closer together, we're finding ways to divide ourselves and separate ourselves.
Well, it's kind of like one of those things, Coach, where it's like, as the pendulum swings, right? Like, it's always going to swing back and forth. And like right now we're on like an extreme of one of the I am an optimist in the fact that like I feel like we are on the backswing of getting back to what's it called, moderacy, is that a word?
I guess. I mean, being back to the middle, central, trying to get back to the middle.
Whatever,
where we can find the middle ground and just be able to be humans.
So anywho,
hey Grizz, talk to me, baby. What's going on?
This is
what's
a show.
happening,
This
bro?
is a show of love.
Talk to me, Grizz. Talk to me. What's going on?
Left, right, center.
Not much. Just listening to you guys chatter about the real life things happening out there. It's fantastic. I'm just here. I'm throwing some popcorn in my mouth, enjoying this.
Yeah. No. So listen. This is probably the second to last show of our summer lightning round. Right, where we don't have much structure because we are at the tail end of the light part of
the summer
sports and summer, right? And we can promise you that our next episodes we're going to come back with a lot more structure like we usually have had. We're going to dive deep into the college and the pro football seasons, because we are extremely excited about that, and I speak for everyone here.
First game this week. First game of the season this week. Preseason, but it's the first game. Clackety clack.
And endemically, we are football guys at our heart, right? I think we can all agree on that. We got a little bit of Olympics coming up in segment 2, but we do need to start with the hometown news of Mr. Tua Tagovailoa and that $50 million a year contract. We got Grizz, the super fan, here to give his take, and we got Mr. Analytics, Coach Emeritus Gill, to give us all the numbers on it, and me to keep it copacetic. So, gentlemen, let's fire away. Coach, what are your initial thoughts?
I mean, first of all, I do think going in, I was skeptical about what we could pay him, and was he gonna take what was there to offer. I really didn't want to get into the $50 million plus situation, because that wasn't what I envisioned for him. But again, honestly, he had a great statistical season. He really did. He was number one in a bunch of stats. He was really, really good at completions, yards. I mean, he led the league in so many statistics that, again, it was warranted. He was healthy the whole season. He put himself in a great position to ask for the bank and get the bank. Because, again, it's one of those where statistics are going to carry you. As a quarterback, he also has to be smart as not to break the bank, because he needs guys to catch the ball. That is like a necessity. And as I said, those stats, his passing yards were 46.79, number one. Passing touchdowns, 29, fifth. Interceptions, fourth. Completion percentage, 69.3, third. Yards per attempt, 8.3, second. Passer rating, 101.5, fourth. He does have a good, accurate pass. And when you take a look at it, when you break down, it's only really, he's going to get 3 years guaranteed at $50 million. He's going to get $150 million off of this contract. That is where the bulk of it is, between 2024 and 2026. 2024, this year, he's going to get a $42 million signing bonus, $1 million salary. That's his base. And then incentives, again, throwing, touchdowns, etc. 25, 26, both years, he's going to get, 25 is going to get a $25 million base and $25 million roster bonus. Again, puts him at the $50 million mark. And in 2026, he has a $54 million base, injury guarantee.
Which was, I think it was the biggest part of the situation there, right? So it's interesting, right? You're bringing up the numbers and all that stuff. Like, at the time of his signing, right, he was the third highest paid NFL player, or player general in NFL history, right? Right.
That is kind of like a fallacy, to be honest with you, because that's trying to get the totality of the contract, which is highly doubtful that he'll get to it.
And that's what I'm saying. But at that point, right, because literally, was it a day, 72 hours afterwards, maybe if that, a little bit less, Jordan Love topped that contract by a couple $1 million a year.
Yes, but again, I'm gonna go back to that. pound for pound, as they say in championships, Mahomes will still and is still the highest paid guy, even though it doesn't break down
Duration
like that.
of the contract.
Duration of the contract and his guaranteed monies. He is the highest paid guy.
430 million guaranteed, or not guaranteed.
He's got 200 and something million dollars guaranteed,
right?
Which outweighs everybody else.
Which is the key term in football, right? Like people get enamored with the numbers, but they forget the guaranteed portion of the contracts in football, and that's what people don't realize. This isn't this isn't baseball where the totality of the contract is guaranteed, right?
Correct.
Where in baseball is you're getting paid 270. When they report 275, you're getting paid 275, regardless if you play 162 games or you play one game with the team. Whereas in football, you can play 5 years, right, or 4 years, whatever your contract is, but maybe 3 years of that contract is guaranteed, right? Like very rarely do football players, when they sign their new contract, do they see the totality of that contract, which is the point that you're trying to make. Very rarely do they see that, right? One of the big ones that stand out in my memory is where the Washington Redskins, Commanders,
Redskins,
when they signed Albert, what's his name, Wilson, the D tackle, where he was like the first defensive tackle to sign a $100 million contract, and he only saw like $40 million because of the guarantees there, right? We're talking like 10 years ago when that happened. Very rarely do NFL players see the totality of those contracts. However, with the quarterback position, it's one of those situations where availability is topped, or it topples the ability, right? Because what other options do the Miami Dolphins have? Or what options did they have there, right? Like, what's your other options? You don't pay the guy. He goes on his 5th-year deal because he was a first-round pick.
He's a perfect, again, he really does fit well into what Mike McDaniels wants to do.
Correct.
He really fits well into their system, the pieces that they have around them. And again, that this contract also opens up about $14 million in cap space.
Long term.
Coming up in the next year or two. Which, again, you're going to have to pay Tyreek. You got some guys that you got to keep around for this offense to work. So, again, I really think it's both a player-friendly and team-friendly contract.
You guys, you know what I hear here? We'll be coming around the mountain when we come. We'll be coming around the mountain when we come.
When we come.
Coach is come around to understand the value of the contract in the aspect of the salary cap. Good job, Coachy. It shows that you can change your views here.
I mean, I still think he's getting overpaid. I mean, don't misunderstand me. I still thought of 45 mil plus incentives to get to 50 something would have worked. Again, but with all things given and with all things going on, I think that the contract isn't terrible. It's not that bad. You get me? Like I said, when you compare what he's making to what his receivers are making, and then you take a look at Jordan Love, what he's making, and his receivers are making a paltry together, like 18 million, all of them together, is ridiculous. And that's where that's what I'm trying to say. That's where you get into trouble when your quarterback contract so far outweighs your team that you can't put the right pieces on both sides of the football.
And I get that. But we're also talking about potentially the most important position in all of sports.
Oh, it has become that, yes.
Period.
At this moment,
Period.
Yes, but he can't. Okay, number one, he can't throw the ball off his back, as Buddy Ryan would say. Okay. Number two, if his receivers suck or are mediocre, he's not going to be that good. And last but not least, if the defense doesn't play well or well enough to keep them in games, and not every game is a shootout, you become mediocre.
No, 1,000%. I mean, this team is built to have to play from in front. If it's a tight game or they're playing from behind, like, we might be in trouble. Mario, Mr. Grizz, you've been taking this in, you've been processing it. Yeah, give it to us.
Just listening, as always. I admire both of you. Talent in the field of coaching and understanding the players. But sometimes you just got to do the right thing and pay the man.
Heard.
If the name wasn't Tua and you just read those stats, you pay the man. He deserves it. There's a bunch of other quarterbacks that make more money guaranteed than him that you could say don't deserve it, but they all don't deserve it. This market is inflated. Everybody's getting paid an absurd amount of money. He was just in line. Does Jordan Love deserve to get that contract after half a season? He wasn't that good at the beginning, but he had a great little ending, and he's the hot thing. No, but he got paid. We were paying for the future. We're paying for hope. This is what this league is now. You can't grow the Pat Mahomes off trees. It just doesn't work. You got to hope that this works out. He fits perfect in this system. He obviously can't get hurt, right? For it to work. However, he's a quarterback. He's going to get hit. He could get hurt. I'm tired of this injury crap. If he plays, he's going to get it done. He needs to be better against better teams. Obviously, that's coaching as well. Get him in positions. This is just absurd. And he can't play from behind. They did come back last year down 4 touchdowns to the Ravens on the road. He can come from behind. Here's the thing. Just win the games you're supposed to win. I'm tired of this, bro.
Just win, baby.
Just win.
Just win, baby.
He had one game on the road against KC in his only playoff game in the coldest weather possible with our depleted team. And even then, yeah, no excuses. I've said this over and over. But a million times you see that game happen the way it happens. Come back this year. They're going to lead the league in points scored by far. They're just if the guy's healthy and that this team has loaded up offensively, it's going to be scary. And get him a home game. If you lose the first home game, the way he plays, if he doesn't show up, you talk all the crap you want.
Like I said, I really think that his success will come with the success of our offensive line.
Many a quarterback with less talent than this quarterback has won a Super Bowl. Pieces have to come right. Sometimes things just have to run right. You're telling me there's zero chance this team cannot win a Super Bowl? I'm not talking about it as a Miami Dolphin fan that's been just never thinking they would win. I'm just talking about in a vacuum, this team with that talent, you can put them up there. So they are a contender.
So a couple things, right? Like, and you brought up some amazing points here, right? You talked about pay the man and stuff like that. So there are some pundits, right, that are bringing up, and I got like 3 points here that I want to bring up. Number one is like the validation fallacy is what some pundits are bringing up, that like they're paying him because the GM Greer is trying to validate his choice to pick him in that
They
pick.
all do.
Which again,
Who wants to look like an idiot?
correct, right? Which again, and you bring up the point, which is the argument that he was the next in line. This has been happening for the better part of 10 to 15 years. The next quarterback in line who's due for a deal
He's supposed to get
ends
paid.
up getting the highest, and this only happens almost exclusively
We're gonna start
with the
moving up.
quarterback position, right?
We're gonna
correct
start
me if-
talking now. Dak Prescott needs his money, right? And he's
that-
gonna break the bank.
And let's be clear here, and that's a great point that you're bringing up when we talk about this thought process of the next man up. Dak Prescott may be the first $60 million quarterback,
Which again, is,
Right.
to me,
which is
that idea
insane.
is asinine.
Who's someone who's won 2 playoff games in his
And-
career.
And again, statistically speaking, he's done a decent job, this and that, the last 2 years. But again, and when you say that, and I'm looking here, and this is the biggest knock on Tua, and which also should, get better, hopefully, this season. In the last 2 years, the Dolphins are 17-4 against non-playoff teams. 30 points per game, 276 passing. Against playoff teams, they're 3-12. 20 points per game, 240 passing. Last year alone, they went 10-1, but then they went 1-5 against those same type of teams.
Which is
So that is where the money lies.
Yeah.
Okay, he's gonna make 50. Perfect. He better beat these teams.
which is part and parcel for the next point that I wanted to bring up in this discussion is they were really good against the non-playoff teams. They lost those 5 games against the winning teams. You have to win those games. And at least in my head, and I think you guys would agree, is can they win a Super Bowl? 100% they can.
What do we say about the quarterbacks that have the same record, 11-6, but then they would have like the 4-2 record against the winning teams, but they're like 7-6. Like it's just he's doing what he's supposed to do. You got to beat at least teams that you're supposed to beat.
No, agreed. Agreed.
When you're playing against better teams,
you got to win though.
You got to win.
You got to win. Listen, at least at home. At least at home.
You got to split.
You got to go 3-3.
You got to split.
You got to go 3-3, 3-2. 2-3. You got to be right there.
My overarching point with that is and at least in my mind, and I think you guys would agree with this, and I think the overall football world agrees with this as well, is can the Dolphins win a Super Bowl as constructed? Yes, they can. Very, very possible. However, I do think that their road to winning the Super Bowl needs to be home field advantage.
Correct.
And in order to get home field advantage, you need to at least split the games against those winning teams. Would you guys agree with that?
Right.
With everything that happened last year, had they just won one of the games against the Bills, they would have been home. And that playoff game would have been home against the Bills, and we would have seen what would have happened. But I'm saying that's, once again, as always, in every sport, we're talking about
hairs,
flips like this.
inches.
All season, they were in the lead of division. You get that couple game skid, which the one team that they should have beat, the Tennessee Titans, they blew that game miserably. So you have that game, even with, losing to all the good teams, you would have had your home playoff game, second seed. Who knows? But it's just, I can't, like, he had one game in the playoffs and he's the worst quarterback ever. That's what I'm hearing.
No, but
just,
again,
that's what I'm hearing.
And again, we'll break it down once we start getting into the East and all that stuff. Again, he has to win to really merit that contract. He's got to win.
Everybody that has that contract,
he does a great job. He does a great job against those mediocre teams. He's got to step up against those good teams. That's the bottom line. He cannot throw for 200 yards. They can't just score 15 or 18 points.
Yeah.
So
let's see here. One real quick. I saw, how much is Herbert guaranteed?
Well, has Herbert signed his new contract? He did.
Yeah.
Earlier,
Justin Herbert, $218 million guaranteed. What's he proving?
Oh, we got to break that down as far as what's guaranteed.
But there's
you have to understand that he doesn't have. Listen, but if you're going to compare those guys,
I'm just saying, like, I am going to compare.
No, you got to give him the weapons.
That guy also plays. He plays in a gauntlet.
Oh, Herbert didn't have weapons?
No,
he didn't have some great receivers the last couple of years.
No, he hasn't.
Come on, man.
Those guys weren't available.
They don't play.
Huh?
They don't play. Grizz.
They were hurt. They were injured.
Oh, we're going to give them.
No, Grizz, but they don't play.
They're hurt.
Here we go.
But they don't play.
Excuses.
No. You got to give him what it is.
I'm saying everybody's hurt, but he's that great. He's supposed to elevate other players.
No, I didn't
That's what I hear about Herbert.
That's not true.
But that's all I hear about that guy. We should have picked him instead of Tua.
But when they play, I do believe that. But that's a different subject, different topic. However,
no, definitely we made the right pick.
The 6 teams that he lost, or the 5 teams that he lost to, he had those guys playing. Those guys were playing. Tyreek was playing. Waddle was playing. He had the players. Now, over the last 3 years, the receivers for the Chargers have not played together. They've played, I think, 7 games out of 36. Or something like that, which makes no. And when they play, they win.
Man, step up. Let's go. Make that receiver better.
But again,
he's that good.
But that's not
But that's what I see. That guy got paid. He got paid that ton of money because he's that good. He's amazing.
He is.
Deshaun Watson has the most.
He played with a broken hand last year.
I know, he's amazing.
Deshaun's another deal.
Deshaun Watson
is
guaranteed.
No, that's Cleveland Browns.
That's another episode.
That's Cleveland Browns thinking. That's the
two-time MVP Lamar Jackson apparently can't win at home in the AFC Championship game.
That's another guy who's under the microscope.
I know. I'm just thinking everybody's under a microscope, so I don't care. I'll take my guy right now. I'm okay with my guy.
No problem.
And that's the bottom line. There's nobody else.
Again,
I think we got a great deal when you broke down the amount and how it is.
Correct.
It's going to be a friendly deal in a couple of years. I'm okay with it.
So let's break this down into the larger perspective, right, of the AFC and just quarterbacks in general, right? So interesting fact, right? Tua and Justin and Jordan Love have the same agent. So the guy was simultaneously negotiating both these deals. Guy had a phenomenal.
Talk about a great time to get your percentages, huh?
Yeah.
My God.
I mean, the guy can retire right now and he's chilling.
Vaya, wow.
Yeah.
Qué rico.
But it's funny, right? Because when we put it into context of the Jordans of the sport, right? Like Mahomes is already in the conversation for best QB ever, surpassing Brady, all this craziness. And he's 6th on the list right now in terms of top paid quarterback.
But that is not true.
And it is not true in
That
the
is not
totality
true
of
in
the
the- in what
contract.
he's gonna get
But
paid.
if you were Mahomes,
He already said it.
and to
he already
his
came out and said it.
and to that's what I was going to bring up, which is to Mahomes' credit, I'm just focused on winning championships,
I'm
dog.
good, man.
Yeah, let's get the dudes around me so we can continue
He
this
knows
ride.
he knows his bread is getting buttered.
Correct.
He's good.
Yeah. No, 100%.
He doesn't have to be in that.
Do you think, and I think this question was already partially answered, right? That this Grizz just said that it's going to be a friendly contract in a couple years. Jordan Love, right, topped him by a couple million a year. Do you think these quarterback contracts are going to, and because there's more coming down the pike in the next year or so, do you think that, is there a cap? Like, do we see
Not if we get another game, that's going to be even more money.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? Like,
Again, and that is a point that you
we
did
will
make.
eventually have $100 million a year quarterback.
You made
coming.
the point a while back ago that the contracts will grow because of these
the TV deals?
media deals and TV deals.
Well, you already see
and yes, and again, you see the cap has grown.
the cap grew to 255
The
this
cap
year.
has gotten bigger. So again, the key is the percentage of the cap
Will be
that-
coming around the mountain
that
when we
contract
come.
is. Again, I just, like I told you before, I base myself on how much do you have left to pay the rest of your team.
Mm-hmm.
That is the key to winning. Football is the ultimate team sport. It really is. You can't be
100%.
good against a guy. If the guys, you can be the best linebacker in the world. If that D line up front, if Siragusa wasn't eating up
I
blocks,
totally agree.
Ray Lewis is
they
the
need
best
the D- they
Ray
need the-
Lewis wasn't Ray Lewis.
Yeah.
Okay?
They need the D to step up this year, but the way the offense is set up and the way he runs the system, the way you can just every year just draft one of these speed backs, man, just keep plugging them in, boom, boom, boom. I just think the offense will be fine under the leadership. It's just the defense. If we're not hurt and we got the players,
No, I
can't
am,
predict. You can't look at the end of the day.
I am good. Well, like I said,
I think they're gonna be
I wanna
a
dive
division
into, I
winner
want
at
to dive
the
into the
minimum.
Dolphins when we do the East. So,
Yeah, so this is a nice little preview, right? And we'll end the segment here, right? Talking about that, right? In the couple weeks coming up after, we're done with the Olympics and after we get, and it's football time for real, right? As we alluded to, the first game of the NFL season is among us, right? We have a game tomorrow night, the Hall of Fame game that's coming up on Thursday night. That should be a nice little taste to wet our beaks, if you will, right? To stem us over into the actual season. But in the next couple weeks coming, we're going to be breaking down the AFC East, which will be the first division that we're going to be breaking down. And we're going to go through every single, division and both conferences in the NFL. We're going to do the same thing with college football, right? We're going to break down the big conferences. There is a ridiculous amount of change in the college football world. So that is food for thought for us in the next couple of weeks as well. It's going to be confusing, right? For us traditional football folk, because
it's been confusing trying to put that together on the computer. Let me tell you, bro, trying to do the Excel spreadsheets, I've been going crazy.
It's going to be fun. It's going to be fun
Utah's
though.
in the Big 12. Holy crap.
Yeah, you hear? Think about that. We got, was it Stanford in the Big Ten? Or
No,
ACC,
ACC.
ACC?
Stanford,
Because they're
Cal.
an Atlantic Coast.
Well, there
team.
you go. There you go. We're already confused.
Can't wait for the Miami Cal game this year.
Yeah, that is going to be
Huge.
weird. Woof. But anyway, that's the stuff that we got looking forward to when it comes to football. And like I said, we're endemically, we are a sports show, but we're a football show at heart. And that's where we got going. So, but we do need to cover what is at hand. We are in the throes of the Olympics. We got some good stuff coming up, and that's what we're gonna focus on. No political stuff. I promise you that was already at the beginning. We've moved on, and we're gonna focus on the amazingness that we've seen from the U.S. teams, right, in the Olympics in the next segment. So we'll be right back with that. All right, so I hope that last segment got you guys excited about what's to come in the football season. We're super excited about that also, and we are tempering our want to be able to talk about that stuff, but we have to time it out correctly. Right now, at the moment, sports at hand is the Olympics, and we're gonna dive into that because, hey, we some patriotic ass dudes here, right? And we love us some Olympics. We love that the fact that the U.S. is competing and succeeding, right? Headlined by the women's gymnastics team, which they have achieved their 3rd gold medal in a row, right? I think it's 4. It might be 4 in a row.
Let me tell you, that Biles girl is tough. She goes through injuries. She goes through whatever. Simone Biles is a stud. She's a stud. She's a stud.
So let's talk about that, right? So 2012 Olympics, breakout star, right? Already when she gets they get the team gold and she gets her individual golds and her best all around. And then comes back in the 2020 Olympics and she's got the yips. She's got the gymnastics version of the yips. Can't find the floor, right? Was afraid to throw the moves that she invented that are named after her because she could not find the floor. Mentally, she was not there. To the fact that in the 2020 Olympics, which was, competed in 2021 due to COVID, she removed herself from the competition because she was afraid. And let's call it what it is. The moves, the techniques that she does, there's a reason why she's the only one in the world that's able to do them. She could have died. So that's why she removed herself. And they still were able to get They
did not win the gold.
The silver.
They got the bronze.
In 2020? 2020. That's what it was. And it was in large part because she had to remove herself from the team competition.
You got mistaken because Sunny Lee won the gold in the individual.
That's what it was.
Because she got out of that competition.
Correct. That's what it was. But she came back. She got, and we've talked, and I think we've done a good job in the history of our show speaking about mental health issues and whatnot. She got her help, right? She spaced herself mentally. She refocused herself, came back, rededicated herself to something that she is the GOAT in, right? She's the GOAT.
But during that time, when she took that time off, she did get a little bit of, backlash because she did that.
Which is not not fair. I think we can agree. Totally not fair.
When you see someone that great, say, hey, I gotta step out of this. There's gotta be a reason.
I gotta recenter myself. Right.
There's gotta be a reason. It's not like, she just one day said, I can't do it physically. Had to be something mentally that wasn't going right.
Right.
Because as she proved it now.
Back with a vengeance.
She's just great.
Back with a vengeance. Yeah. And so it was one of the funniest things that I saw, and I don't know if you guys saw it on social media or whatever. Michaela Maloney, I believe, was her name. She was a former Olympic on one of the Olympic
I think she
teams,
was in the 2016.
The 2016 Olympic. Just completely tore up this team. They're not, they don't have the work ethic. They don't have the talent, this, that, the other. So when Biles comes, lazy, not dedicated, Olympic champions. Michaela Maloney just blocked everybody on that team. Right? Those are the type of stories that I like to hear. And they just, wire to wire, they were just the best team on the floor. And it's dope. It's dope to see that, right? And going back to our earlier conversation, right? That team, if you look at the collection of individuals, right? Simone Biles herself is Asian American and Asian and Black, right? You have Hispanics on that team. You have that is a perfect personification of what America is right there, right? Coming together from different backgrounds, socioeconomic backgrounds to achieve a common goal. So that's pretty dope to see that. And these girls are 18, 19, 20. She's the oldest one at 27 on that team. They call her the grandma. Just to put that in perspective.
Yeah, usually your career's early 20s is over in gymnastics.
Yeah, 16 to 20 is like the age range for your career in gymnastics when it comes to the females. Males have a little bit longer,
But I think as we've seen, like most sports, like tennis used to be younger to other sports. People are
modern advancement in technology.
Modern advancements, and I think, remember, all these sports never got funded. It's just not like when you're 22, what are you going to be, a professional gymnastics? It wasn't.
Right.
These things are a little bit more,
sponsorships
now. You're getting
branding
probably
deals.
some better deals, so it's able to keep you in the game,
sustain you, right?
And if you want to live that life, I'm sure it's a very solitude grind of a life. you put a lot of like pressure on a lot
Correct.
of certain joints. When you see some of these people do those flips, you're like, every time my knees
Oh,
are
the
like,
horse. The
pain.
horse. That horse is
Yeah.
like.
So like it just
Horse is pretty like.
it is it's the men's side. I mean, they have the rings. Every
The,
time I look at that,
parallel
it's-
bars, or I mean, do you see
crazy.
their arms after those?
No, they're all jacked up. They're
Yeah.
all jacked up. And
So-
the men, they ended up getting the bronze for the first time
which
since 08.
correct. So that's a big time for the men, and you can see the dichotomy, right? In the men versus the female. Like females, we already know they're expected to win gold, no matter what. Like that's the pedigree that we have, right? Bottom line,
Female gymnastics in America has been as great since the Mary Lou and Red days.
correct. Anything less than that, it's a failure. With the men, their thing was, we have a good enough team to make the podium.
Correct.
So you can see the dichotomy in the expectation.
You can basically say this is like the men's soccer team for the U.S. You know, they finally
Correct.
got over the hurdle. They got themselves a medal. Because in that men's side, it's ruled by the Japs, the Chinese. They're just they take it over. It used to be-
Romanians,
it used to be-
Ukraine.
No, it used to be Russia that was big on them. But over the years, both the women and the men, I think, have taken
Correct.
little back turns to their sports.
And it's crazy, right? Like you talked about that, and that's a great point, Grizz, that you bring up. Like there still is, even now, right? And maybe it's a little bit more magnified because of the pressures that we have in our current world situation. But back in the day, right, the Olympics was dictated by the, Cold War judging, right? And I know, Coach, that you're very, you know this better than we do.
I wasn't
the
alive.
1980 Olympics, remember that we
But I
we
read
boycotted.
about it.
We boycotted
You've
in
seen
the
it.
80s.
Then they
We
boycotted us in 84.
Correct. We boycotted in the 80s because of Russia, what have you. Then they boycotted in 84. And yes, again, the Olympics, and that's why I mentioned that before, because even if you go back to World War II with Germany and things like that, like the Olympics was always a pageantry of teams, of athletes, of what we do as countries, right? So that's why I had mentioned that before, the whole introduction of the Olympics and the player, because again, it's about the guys and the girls that compete, man.
Right.
That's what it's supposed to be about. The attention's on them because they're the ones who struggle and fight for years to get on the team.
No income.
To be able
But over the years,
to be able to
money
win.
takes over because, first of all, if you even get the Olympics, you sold your soul of your city down the river because it's
Right.
basically a negative. All these people that do this, it's gonna be interesting in LA because LA has everything ready to go for the Olympics already. They don't have to build other structures like other cities have to like just randomly build the rings.
But they're going to build.
No, but
they're
LA has tons of already built arenas,
Right.
stadiums, places that it's ready to go. I heard an interview with the guy leading. He's like, we don't have much to do like other countries. We're going to be off and rolling. It's going to be incredible. I think here, when you guys were talking earlier, remember, we're talking about changing everything. Everything's being changed. The way we watch TV has been changed over the last few years. This year, it's actually one of the best ways to watch ever. Streaming on Peacock has made it amazing
100%.
to watch the Olympics. But we don't watch it. First of all, it's another thing. Depending where we're playing these Olympics, sometimes
At the time, 2 in the morning, 3 in the
sometimes
morning.
it's 5 in the morning that it's
5.
live. Here, which Paris is not too bad. London wasn't too bad. But, when we were out over there by Tokyo and China, you're talking about a different time zone.
On a replay, right.
To get the fans to watch. So, 4 or 5 hours, you still get the prime time watch. But like I said, it's just we have options. There's a ton of options. It's not the same as it used to be to watch. The Olympics, they there's so many other sporting events, the World Cups, all these that yes, for certain sports, it's always cool to see things you would never see.
Right.
And, I get to watch these table tennis games that are ridiculous.
Fire.
You get to watch some other cool stuff. It's just like
the Winter Olympics with the curling.
For me, curling.
With the curling. Everybody becomes a curling fan.
Can we do like a 2 coaches, 1 Grizz curling team?
I'm
curling
curling
fan,
in 2 years. I don't know about you guys.
That's
There's not many. There's a good chance we make it to the Olympics.
With a little
It's not a big.
Yeah,
I'm sweeping all day.
Side note, that there is a curling
I know
situation.
there's a curling league over there in Kendall Ice Arena.
Can we do a 2 coaches, 1 Grizz team?
We'll talk about it. Let's do some other stuff
I think we need a
first.
fifth.
We need 5?
I think so. I think you need a fifth. I'm not sure.
It's 4. It's 4.
Is it 4?
I like my
It's 4.
chances with the 4 that we got here.
It's 4. But having said that, so like, yeah, we have a lot of different. COVID changed the game too. Years ago, how it switched out the year, and like I said, different habits. I didn't want to talk about. Like I said, I didn't want to even touch anything that was being said in the opening. That was for you guys. But come on, guys, it's the French.
Yeah, it is the French.
We're gonna deal with some different things. It's the French. So let the French do what the French do. As always, as I always tell everybody, if we don't like something, got 1,000 other channels to watch something else.
Oh, definitely.
Channel.
It's a great point.
I think the Olympics so far have been all right. I was very excited today with Katie Ledecky, another GOAT.
Fire.
She didn't win. Like, she got beat, I think, in the 400, I think it was.
Continue.
But not her big, thing. Her money is the 1,500, which she dominated again, got her 8th gold medal. Like, that's that's Michael Phelps of the women's generation, right?
So it's funny, right? So they bring up, and I love the fact that you brought that up, right? Like they put, so Caleb Dressel, right? One of the men's swimmers, they won the IM, the medley.
Right.
Right. It was like the third night of the Olympics. Right. And they're like, he is now in the top 3 ever in medals. Correct. And they showed the list, and it's like Usain Bolt, him, a couple other people tied at like 9. Yeah. And then all the way at the top of the list, 23.
Oh, Michael Phelps.
With our boy Michael Phelps.
Just hanging out?
Just
hanging out, 23 chilling?
Yeah, no.
That is the
man has more golds than anybody has medals.
Correct.
That's just the way it is.
Facts.
That's the GOAT of GOATs.
When he eclipsed Michael Spinks is when it was like, wow, this guy is the real deal.
Yeah, no.
Because Michael Phelps is out of this world as a swimmer.
Yeah.
Tremendous.
He's a real life dolphin.
Tremendous.
Yeah. No, and then like I always go back to that because that was the Beijing Olympics when he went for his all of those events. And it was crazy because it was like, they had the Phelps tracker, right? Like he would swim the event and he's like, okay, he's got to jump in the cool down pool, then to do the warm up pool, and then you got to be back in 15 minutes for another gold medal event, dog. And he just did it. He just did it. And then people didn't realize how nasty that was until we look at him now. We don't got Michael Phelps anymore.
Right.
We ain't doing that.
And the great thing is he won all those gold medals and the occasional little bong rip in the middle,
Exactly.
Hey.
And here's my thing, right? Like
Talk about an accelerator.
And this is the hater comment in it, right? Like the guy is, by all accounts, one of the greatest athletes, bar none.
Top 5. Ever.
I would say top 3, just across any
I'm
sport.
saying in life.
In life, right?
Top 5 is easy.
Yo, let the guy have a couple drinks and a couple bong rips, dog. Like he earned it. Like the guy's got to slow down for swimming, man.
It's all about a time and a place.
But you know what the commitment is?
And the time and the place was he was in a place where he shouldn't have been bothered.
Hey, I'm just saying.
Someone took a picture.
It's a time and a place.
Like,
you know what I'm saying?
Like, what are we doing here?
What are we doing?
And he forced the guy into like rehab. Like, what is he rehabbing for?
Exactly.
The guy just won 20.
So what did he do? He just won another 6 medals.
Yeah.
Rehab me.
Yeah. Stood on business. That which is dope.
But anyways,
bringing me back to swimming. Yes. I'm a big swimmer fan. Like, I got into it 2000 Olympics, right? We were in 7th grade. Ace, you remember we were in Miss Sukel's class.
Sydney Olympics.
We had to do those projects with the Olympics, Miss Sukel's class in 7th grade, right? We had to cover the Olympics. 2000 Olympics, I got into it, right? And when I got into swimming, I was 11 years old. Why? Because of those freaking Australians and Ian Thorpe and them, talking that shit with
the torpedo,
with the air guitar, and then we just went on to rape them. Yeah, you know what? Yes, we're a family show.
They haven't had in swimming.
This is their best Olympics,
right? They haven't had more gold medals than us since 1954, I believe.
And they're on track to beat us.
To have more gold medals. We have more overall medals in swimming. Yeah. But we need to pick it up.
We need to pick it up. Right. And whatever.
That's our biggest rival right there.
It may be a down year, but we're still there. Like, we're still top 3.
One thing I also want to, even though, like I said, 4 years away, the LA, what I really like, the cool thing about what they're going to do for LA, they're going to flip-flop the swimming and track and field. It's always swimming the first week.
And then track and field the second week.
Yeah, they're going to do track and field the first week.
Which is dope.
It's going to be cool to switch that and swimming the last week, and it's going to be outdoor swimming.
Nice.
They're going to have it outdoors, which is going to be super cool.
Yeah, I like that. And
that's why, like, I'm telling you, I have a really good feeling that LA Olympics is going to be probably the hottest one ever, because once again, the worst thing you could do is these places build all this infrastructure for these games, and then they're like,
And we're gonna get into
They're
that.
not being used.
We're gonna get into that in a second.
So this is why, like, remember, LA with having multiple baseball teams, multiple football teams, multiple basketball teams. You got plenty of places.
They're
the
set
new
up.
LA Clippers arena that's getting built, or it's already built, is
perfect.
It's what is it, like the Dallas Cowboys version of an arena?
Correct. That's exactly.
What do you think is going to be shown there for the Olympics?
They have a fan wall.
Yeah.
Like it's gonna be nuts.
I think, and remember, they also did this 30 years ago, so they have a little bit of.
They know
what's up,
right? So it's funny, and again, this is within the same topic, right? Like my wife and I with the kids, we've kind of like committed ourselves to like instead of giving the kids material stuff, like we want to do events with them, right? We want to do activities and take them on trips and stuff like that. So we're like, hey, like one of the bucket lists that we want to do with the kids is Olympics. But like we're like, LA, we can do LA whenever we want, right? That's in 4 years. So we're starting to plan to set up, our family situation to start saving to do the Australia Olympics in 2032, right? But the Brisbane Australia Olympics.
Nice.
So and
that's something you need like 7-8 years to.
So we talked. So we talked about it.
That's a long deal.
Yeah, we talked about it, right? Like LA, you can go to LA whenever you want. I got my mom involved in it. Super dope, right? Like, yes, it's 8 years away. The kids are going to be 12 and 10. But perfect. really, actually, we only have like 5 years to plan because everything goes on. You have to buy the tickets and everything.
Right.
2.5 years in advance.
Yeah, you better be saving because that's going to be a depleter of cash right there.
Yeah, well, I'm hoping that businesses and everything take off, and I don't have to worry about it at that point. But
everybody that goes to the Olympics is going to be paying a pretty penny.
So Anna was like, "Hey, we don't have to worry about this for a while." I go, "No, babe, like we gotta like." We have to save funds because we have to buy and purchase and lock all that stuff in 5 years from now.
You start now, you save for 5 years, you should be fine.
And because 5 years goes fast, So yeah, it's like super dope because I'm a big Olympics guy.
We all, like I was saying, growing up, it was cool. Every 4 years you get the Olympics. Like I said, now you can go on. You never saw like a track and field world championship.
No.
It's on NBC Sports.
Right.
I see it every year now.
Right.
There's world championships for all the sports. If you wanted to, you could see some swimming. Right. There's various options now to see these sports that you could only see once every 4 years. So it's just change of habits.
Yeah.
And, does it still have its illustrious pageantry? Every time we try to, see if it does. It didn't work out the opening ceremonies this time for some people. And, like how the games play out. Are they memorable? Do you have the Usain Bolt moments? Do you have those Michael Phelps moments? You have to have moments like that too.
Right.
Obviously the France is second in medals. So, the hometown.
They get the hometown bump. They get the bump.
Well, they get to have someone in every event. That's the beauty.
They're automatic qualifiers. Right.
Yeah, so we should, when we host in LA, we should have every medal basically.
Yeah. So here's the thing, right? Like for me growing up, right? My vision of Summer Olympics.
We're gonna have flag football in 4 years.
Hell yeah, that's gonna be fun.
That's gonna be insane. I just thought that out of our son.
So that's the thing, right? Like, it's crazy because
we currently play poker with someone who might even coach that team.
Oh no, he's on.
He's on.
He's
the
USA men's coach.
He is the czar.
So
he is the czar.
Field passes.
A real czar.
I mean, we just got to maintain the relationship.
I know you don't want to go to LA with the family, but I think this is the two coaches,
one Grizz on site.
On site.
On site. Yeah.
Like Super Bowl row.
Yeah.
George
Cascudo, you better be listening. We want passes.
Yeah.
We're going to live.
He's got 4 years to get it.
Live coverage.
There you go.
Two coaches, one Grizz. Yeah. There it is. There you have it.
Better than any kind of coverage he'll get there.
No brainer. Obviously. Duh. Fuego.
We're in your corner, man. We got you.
Yeah, exactly. See, for me, it's swimming, track and field, and gymnastics for the Summer Olympics. That's what I always grew up. But now we got to add flag football to it.
That's going to just change the game.
Fuego.
Flag football's very cool.
Fuego. So let's close out the segment with basketball. What are your thoughts? Grizz, I know you got some thoughts here. Coach, I know you got some thoughts here.
I have none.
I mean, at the end of the day, what are we talking about? They got to win every game. If they lose a game, it's a failure. Any game they lose is a failure.
So
it just is.
I heard an interesting commentary, and they, I think it was Windhorst, and there was somebody else talking. But
if he was making the commentary, you couldn't have missed him.
Oh, I mean,
that's a big boy.
That guy.
I know you didn't miss him.
That guy blocked out the sun.
I'm sure he did.
He could block out the sun if you needed him to.
The wall, the sun. Go on.
Hey, love you, Wendy. You're great. Here's, and they were trying to thread the needle on comparing 92 team versus this one. And I know that we can always, and they do it every year. You know that they do it every Olympics.
As much as I love the 92 team, if the 92 team played the teams today, it wouldn't be the wouldn't be the 30-point blowouts. There was nobody that played back then.
I would agree.
For any of those countries. Nobody.
Oh,
it was nobody back then that played.
Coach is doing the Kermit here.
Nobody. Like they would probably
Thank
still
God I
win.
have water.
They would probably still win their games, obviously, but I'm just saying, like,
They wouldn't win by 30. They win by 17.
Coach,
Not even there'll be games that they'll be close.
But
for sure.
objectively, we
know
are
what I'm saying?
in the we are in the point now in world basketball because of that 92 team. Would you agree with that?
What do we mean? That
the world has caught up.
The world is
No,
great
I
because
don't
of
know.
what the NBA has done.
Time out.
What
The
what
world,
Stern did.
the world has not caught up. There's certain players that play in the world that are good, which again, back then the same thing. But there isn't any team, any real team in the world that can compare to the best of that we got.
Yeah.
That is, I don't care if it's 92, 88, 90, 76. It doesn't matter.
Right. If you put
If we put our best guys,
the best teams from
we're
the NBA,
beating them by 30.
Yeah.
I'm sorry. Now, that Hashimura might have 12 points or 18 for Japan. Oh, okay, wow. Roy had a great game. But the rest of those Japanese guys ain't scoring much else.
look what we did to the Joker in Serbia. I mean,
Come
it was
on,
just
dude.
Joker.
I mean, again, that's
They
what
have
I'm
a couple good players.
Well, they have Bogdanovich as well.
No, they have a couple good players, but
But
at the end of the day, they're going to
just
get weeded out.
Right. And then the problem is, listen, we get you with the bench. Okay? And again, I digress to my old Miami High days when, may rest in peace, Shaky Rodriguez would send the guys in waves. It was 5 guys at a time. And he pressed you all the way up and down the court. It's the same thing with the American
when
team.
you have on that team that when you have what was it, the running back, your starting running back.
It didn't matter. He just sent guys on waves.
When the starting running back who ended up playing for the Denver Broncos is
No, he played for the Dolphins and the Lions. He got drafted by the Lions. He went to Michigan State.
what was his name?
Oh, Cedric Irvin.
Cedric Irvin.
Was Cedric Irvin was on his bench?
No,
You're all right.
But that's what I'm trying to tell you. That's where we kill these teams because our second 5 is as good as our first 5, and their second 5 can barely hold the Gatorade water. I mean, honestly, that's why I say.
But the rest of the world, no doubt, is way better than it was 30 years ago.
No, they've gotten better.
That's all.
I'm saying they've gotten better.
Not that they'll beat us regularly.
I'm just saying they've gotten
But in
better.
a one-game situation, they could beat.
It's already happened several times.
Listen, I'm going to tell you right now, that team, again, had a different makeup. And you had certain guys on that team that would not allow us not to play to our potential,
To the potential,
and
right.
win.
Got it.
You get me? Those guys were a different mindset.
Correct. Different mindset.
You get me?
They
And
still were playing teams that were way weaker.
I get it. I get
If
it.
they
But
played the
would
talent of today,
they'd win by 25.
they would not win by 25 every game.
Okay.
Not every game.
All right, bro.
I mean, we'll never know, but I can guarantee they wouldn't in my head. And that's all I know. That's all I know.
In my
head.
reality.
That's it. My reality. Your reality is yours. Take it to the bank. But they just wouldn't. And our team from today would definitely, probably at least not win.
Now that
and
game.
beat them.
Now that team again.
Come on.
That would be again.
You gotta
that would be a great.
how
That would be an
amazing
incredible
LeBron
game.
James. This
I'm
is
just saying
why.
that would be an incredible game.
Yo, LeBron
You get
James,
me?
bro.
Bye.
Is
I agree.
40
That would be an incredible
years
game.
old.
That I won't
LeBron
argue.
James is 40 years old,
That I
playing
won't
the way he
argue.
is. And that Larry Bird on that team was like 35 and was a broken down man.
Yeah.
Which Larry Bird broke man, taking straight point. I'm saying like,
and he was
just
automatic from the
just
three.
understand,
Yeah, which again was his job.
right? But I'm just
listen.
saying, like, the people take care of themselves in a certain way today.
Different.
Like, there's 4 or 5 people from that team that definitely would have never allowed it. The Michael Jordan, Scottie Pippen in his heyday, Karl Malone was still
Magic.
right there. No, but
Well, Magic was
Come on,
old.
Magic
Magic
had
was
already
old.
been.
He was old.
Had
He
already
had-
been diagnosed.
Right.
Bird, like I said, is half there. What do we have? Leitner, John Stockton, obviously one of the greatest.
Ewing was on that team.
Yeah, Ewing, but once again, he was
David
still
Robinson.
in his prime because they went to the finals there. David Robinson, but I'm telling you, like this team in the last couple of years, to me the 08 team that beat Spain is to me the best team, if it's not the 92 team,
Right.
Because that team
I
that
agree.
had Kobe and
Yeah.
one of the greatest games I ever saw in my life that I told everybody, we got to wait till 3 a.m. to watch this. talk about when it was in China.
Yeah.
Watched it live. Greatest
Beijing,
game I've ever seen.
Yeah.
From 3 a.m. to 5 live. We were hyped. It was amazing. Game came down because, once again, look at that Spain team. That Spain team was loaded with talent.
Loaded.
So I'm saying, like, when you got a team from another country that finally can have the talent to match up, you're gonna get a great game. We still need to win these games because that's what we do. I mean, we've lost like 4 or 5 games in like the last 30, 40 years of having professionals.
Which we should, because again,
law of averages, you have a bad game, this and that. But they shouldn't lose a game in this Olympics.
Correct.
I mean, the France and Wemby needed a 4-point play to tie Japan and get them in overtime. Like I said, Serbia didn't look hot against us. Like, we should win this. The Sudan game in the friendly.
Canada's going to be a tough game. I'm not saying it's going to be.
They got
Canadians
players,
ain't got nothing. It ain't hockey.
But, hey, when it comes to, we're going to win this game.
Coachy,
they got
SGA. They
got my dog, bro. They got Anthony Edwards. That he tells everybody on that team that I just talked about how great it is, and LeBron and all these guys, I'm the dog.
Yeah.
Whether it's true or not, the fact that he says that's money.
The mentality.
Listen, we're loaded.
KD, when he wants to play, that's our bird. You know what I'm saying? Like,
I go back and I tell you, SGA is going to have 17, 18, whatever. He's going to score. But the problem is the supporting cast just cannot keep up.
We can throw more. We can throw more horses at you.
Like I said, listen, we can argue back and forth about our own teams playing against each other than about our teams playing against the world.
Right.
You get me? To me, that's like a no-brainer.
What was it? Athens when we won the bronze, when we lost to Argentina. Argentina won the gold.
Yeah,
that was like the worst. That was like the
but that year,
worst moment.
but that year I think we took like all the college guys. Like I don't think we had any.
We've
LeBron was on the bench.
We've had pro since '92. We've never not done that.
Yeah, LeBron was on the bench. It was like
they know, because that's the thing. You can never send in the college kids ever again.
Yeah.
Because now the college kids will get wrecked.
Yeah.
That's what I'm saying. Like,
correct.
That's what I'm also saying. These guys, all the European teams, all these other teams, they have their kids playing at 14, 15 in men's leagues. They're getting better.
And what they were saying, there's been reports that like a lot of these guys that could potentially be bench players on the NBA and play in the professional leagues, they have decided to stay home because they want to play with the national team to give themselves a better chance to compete against the U.S.
When I went a few years back, I ended up going on a trip for the school. We went to Italy, went to Verona, and we took our high school kids to go play from the different schools. And it's like Grizz says, they have 18 and under teams, 17. They all play like
systematized.
It's like pro ball.
Here's the thing.
They're playing like in huge they are playing ball.
The NBA is the EPL, right? For us.
Right.
Everybody wants to go to the hottest league in the world, right? But just like we're trying to build soccer here with the MLS, those European countries are building their own leagues.
Right.
And they're trying to make the national teams. One thing that we didn't even talk about for these Olympics, how much you pay these people for their gold medals. You saw that we pay these people $30,000, basically. You got Kazakhstan paying $750,000 per gold medal. You got other countries that pay $500,000. You know what I'm saying? Like, so these people are like, hey, I need to make some money. Even though, you could go make the money in the NBA, but some of those people are not going to make it in the NBA. They stay there. They become, and you play on a team cohesiveness for years.
Right.
And that's the thing. We grab these guys as great they are. We just grab them. We put them together. Hey, just go be
practice for 2 weeks and let's go get them.
Yeah. And guess what? First couple games, we came out a little bit, feeling out, process that. The more we get this thing going in rhythm,
it's a wrap.
It's only us that can beat us.
Right.
That's it. Well, we need to be worried about, look at our 3-on-3 teams. Women are 0-2. Jimmy Fredette and the boys are 0-1.
Jimmy Fredette.
I mean, come on. It's a big deal here, guys.
Get out of here. Yeah, you couldn't even keep a straight face.
Bro, but we're doing 3-on-3s now, so now we got to own that too.
Oh, my God. It's terrible.
The problem is we're throwing Jimmy Fredettes and people on the men's. Come on. Get out of here.
Correct. So let's close it out on this. Paris, in the past 8 years, has spent $1.5 billion to clean up the Seine River, right? In order to have their triathlons and their outdoor swimming events, right? Because their thought, and phenomenal thought, what better visual would it be to have the triathlon and them swimming down the Seine River for the gold medal? Phenomenal visual. we forget the fact that Paris is, Ace, look it up, esteemed producer, how old the city of Paris is. It's about 1,200 years old, which means that for 1,200 years, the old infrastructure of that city, the sewage has been spilling into that river, right? Which means that that water has been toxic for about 1,000 years.
That's not where the people go for their like beach, no?
No.
No, this is not
No
the
tanning.
That's like swimming in the Hudson.
this is not the French Riviera. So.
That's like the old Seinfeld episode
Where the Hudson catches on fire.
of the swimmers.
So
Oh yeah.
they spent $1.5 billion to create this, kind of like a water treatment center where essentially all of the sewage, because Paris is really old, you can't freaking divert all of the plumbing and everything, out of the river into this huge circular flowing thing to sanitize the water. But here's the problem. What happened that you can't plan for, right? That we still don't know how to forecast? Rain. So what happens? Paris has, historical rain the 2 weeks before the Olympics. And guess what happens to that huge vortex of sanitation? Overflows, spills back into the Seine River, caca everywhere.
Caca?
To the
Did
point
you say
where
caca?
caca.
So now,
caca.
now we got to swim for gold.
E. coli levels have
Caca
been
here, caca there.
astronomically high in that river. Not to get into the
So they
science.
had a shitty experience. Is what
Yes,
you're
they
saying.
did. I'm so glad you said that. My goodness. Way to hit it on the head,
not
sir.
to get into like the science portion of it, but
Yes, please. Let's not. We'll be here all night with you talking
healthy water.
science.
Biodiversity. There should be like a lot of fish and animals and stuff in there. There ain't nothing swimming in there. Meaning
There is stuff in there, and it's caca.
Cacao River. Hiya, right? And here's what's gonna happen: no backup plan. So if it gets postponed for another day, guess what happens to all those outdoor swimming events and triathlons? Canceled. No Olympics. No medals awarded in
Why
that
don't
event.
they just go swim in the pool 1,000 times?
Coach,
Hey
I
man,
don't
got to
know.
do what you got to do.
It's just
What a foul experience.
foul.
It's just foul.
Foul. A decrepit experience.
Decrepit. Caca.
Now we're
Caca.
reaching.
Yeah, it's a little bit of a reach. But that's ridiculous. You're spending billions.
I think you've spent enough time talking about crap. Let's move on. Okay?
More than usual.
Let's move on. And that's it. We got it.
I'm just saying.
No, we got it.
Billions of dollars and you don't have a backup plan?
We got it.
Listen, bro, I smell
got
what
it.
you're cooking.
That's it. We got it.
We're done.
Oh, no, we
got it.
smelled that for a long part of the way.
My goodness.
On that note, we're going to be right back to close out the show with some MMA talk. And we're back to close out the show with the MMA talk. UFC has been on fire the past couple events. Coach, our esteemed expert in UFC, all things MMA, take it away, sir.
I mean, I wouldn't say expert, but the last 3 weeks have been on fire. We've been out for a few weeks, so we have not been able to cover it. I wanted to go over Rose Namajunas' win. I thought she really fought well. It almost looked like the Rose of old.
Thug Rose is back.
Thug Rose looked like she was back. She really fought well. She moved well. Her punching and everything was on point. It really was. I was very happy to see that. I'm hoping she can continue it.
Speaking of mental, she is the epitome of...
No. She is. Yes. She has every mental issue imaginable. But thankfully, she was able to overcome and get it done. In that same card, we had Gabriel Bonfim again win. He's 16-1. He's exceptional. He's going to be one of those guys, like I said, they'll be fighting for a title soon, and is a top-notch wrestler. Not this week, the week past, we had a great main event between Amanda Lemos and Verna Handirova. These two women went through so many counter moves until Handirova finally submitted Lemos. It was a great fight. Both of them are great wrestlers, super tough. I mean, I don't know what to tell you. That to me, both of these women are solid fighters, and they're going to continue to. Handirova won the championship in that fight. So again, that's going to be phenomenal. Those two women going forwards. And then this past week in the card was electric. Molly McCann lost to Bruna Brasil. Again, another good match. Bruna beat the crap out of Molly. She really brought it down to earth. We had a huge win by Arnold. Arnold Allen beat Giga Chikadze, which that was a good win. Solid win for him. We had Gregory RoboCop Rodriguez. I mean, if you were able to see the fight, that was a great fight with Christian Duncan, and I mean, he's a good wrestler, puncher. This guy's a stud. Paddy Pimblett, what an incredible finish! Again, a transition into a triangle lock that left. Well, he calls himself King Green now. Bobby Green had to tap out. Pimblett looked, I mean, another one that is just on fire.
And Pimblett's one of those ones that like, all the potential in the world, but was he not tapping into what his potential was because he was trying to be early on in his career, I think you would agree, was trying to be like a facsimile of McGregor almost, and he was too worried about that early on in his career, and I think he's rededicated himself to the craft.
Well, I think he lost one or two bouts in between there, but he really came out this fight focused. He fought, and then he wrestled, and his wrestling really, to me, was an impressive situation. How he finished that fight was incredible. It was a first round, but he just transitioned so well into the move that again, I really think that young man has got a world in front of him.
Yeah, so I was just about to say that. You think that this propels him into kind of like the spotlight, into like again, championship bouts, kind of being in the center stage?
Well, again, he's already a spotlight guy because he does command. Him and Molly McCann are two really popular fighters. Him more so than Molly. And he is, again, this fight and the way he finished it, the way he did what he did, really put him back at the top.
To where people expect him
as a
to be.
contender.
Yeah.
As a contender. Then the next fight was Tom Aspinall against Curtis Blade. Aspinall was calling out John Jones after the fight. I mean, Aspinall is an amazing puncher. Has tremendous power. Big guy. Big dude. But I thought Blades, until he got caught, was really putting up a good fight. I thought Blades was going to be okay. But then he got caught with a minute left. Top of the head. Stumbled him.
Night.
And then Aspinall, he didn't really knock him out because Blades still had his wherewithal. And he got up pissed because he was like, damn, like he stunned me and he just couldn't defend himself. So Aspinall finished him off. And then the main event of the night was just Bilal Muhammad putting on a show. He put on a wrestling show and he literally wrestled the title away from Leon Edwards. And I think that Muhammad is going to be good for a couple of fights. Depends who he fights. Because again,
he could run into a buzzsaw here.
This welterweight division is one of the best divisions in the UFC. But the fighters are getting old. The fighters are getting old. So that is one of my concerns with this division. We're running out of young guns. This weekend is Sander Hagen against Nurmagomedov. That should be a good fight. And then the weekend after that, August 17th is Duplessis against Adesanya, which that's going to be a really good fight. I somehow feel that Adesanya is going through the Ronda Rousey situation where he's gotten beat a few times. He's beatable now.
There's no aura around him anymore.
The aura of invincibility is gone.
No more style bender, huh?
Again, he's a good fighter. You got all the tools, but again, there's some kinks in the armor that's been shown, and now you start questioning yourself, and you're wondering, and if something goes wrong in the fight, it starts bringing those doubts in your head. So we'll see how that works out. We'll give you more of a breakdown as we get closer to that fight.
100%. And I think that does it for us in this week's lightning round edition of the summer. 2 Coaches, 1 Grizz. Again, I want to remind all of our listeners, follow us on Twitter, follow us on Instagram, Facebook. Again, like we said, we got our streaming situation coming soon. We're working on that. It's going to be fun. You can join the show, join the action, right? Get in on the banter by messaging us through the link on whichever platform you listen from. Just click the link. You can text us directly. Listen, if you want to be on the show, you're more than welcome to. You want to be a pundit? You want to be a troll? Come. We're all here for the action. We're here for the smoke. All right. Follow us on all the platforms. We love to hear it. Tell us what you want. 2 coaches, 1 Grizz. Out.